watch the video that was recorded. Okay, that's definitely something that you want to do. So today the goal is to solve right triangles, and we're going to do that thing called Sohcahtoa. To be clear, I told you a story before. My friend Lisa in high school, she asked me, "Hey, can you help me with math?" I said, "Sure, I can." She went to a different school. She wanted me to teach her right triangle trig. I told her sine is y over r, cosine is x over r, and tangent is y over x. And I was teaching her to solve it. She got very confused. She's like, "I don't get this." She's like, "I thought you knew what was going on." I'm like, "Well, I kind of do. I'm pretty good at math." She's like, "Well, my teacher told us something called Sohcahtoa." I'm like, "Sohca what?" I thought she was speaking a different language. I didn't understand what it meant. Now I understand what Sohcahtoa means. Okay? In a right triangle, sine is what? Opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent is opposite over adjacent. Some of you have remembered your geometry. Some of you have suppressed it. Wherever we're at, that's fine, but I'm going to speak in very simple terms to make sure you all understand this. Given a right triangle and an angle of theta, there are three sides to that triangle. The hypotenuse is always the longest side of a right triangle. In fact, it is across, it is opposite the 90-degree angle. Are we all okay there? Some people struggle to identify which one is the opposite and which one is the adjacent. I'm now going to make sense of that to you. If I draw the angle, it says theta. Theta is made up of those two sides, correct? Right now, I say that Jada is sitting adjacent to Emma. What does that mean that Jada is sitting adjacent to EJ? They're saying next to each other. So adjacent means next to. So this is the adjacent side because it's next to the angle. It actually makes up part of the angle. That's why it's called adjacent. Opposite simply sits straight across. Opposite. It's the one that is not made up by the angle. Now, what's important to recognize here is that in this situation, I have angle theta. Suppose I chose a different Greek letter like beta, and I'm talking about this angle. If I'm talking about this angle, is this still the hypotenuse? Yes. Is this still the adjacent? No, it is now the opposite. So opposite and adjacent are dependent upon which angle you are choosing to work with, okay? So the great thing about mathematics is that sometimes you have choices. I know that for many of you, you would like just to be told what to do and when and follow a process. In this situation, allow yourself to make choices and to be okay with that. So find the exact value of the 6 trigonometric ratios. We are simply going to look at 3 because we've already done the others. And in right triangle trig, really only these 3 matter. Sine of theta, cosine of theta, and tangent of theta. What? Yes. In order to write those, I need to determine the missing side of the triangle. How do I determine the missing side of the triangle? Good old Pythagorean theorem. 5 squared plus b squared is equal to 13 squared. So 25 plus b squared is equal to 169. So b squared is 144 and b is 12. This is a 5, 12, 13 Pythagorean triple. Iconic. Thank you. So therefore, what is the sine of theta as a ratio? Opposite over hypotenuse. 5/13, right? What is cosine? 12/13, and tangent 5/12. And there you have it. Please do the same thing for the next example. A little bit trickier. Go ahead. Okay, folks, eyes up here, please. 4 squared plus 2 squared is equal to c squared, or 16 plus 4 is c squared. Therefore, All right, let's check it out, folks. Sine of theta, cosine of theta, tangent of theta. So my good friend Hannah, everybody say hi, Hannah. Hannah asked that we make sure we go over this piece. So we're going to do that. Sine of theta, we have the opposite side, which is 4. And we're going to make sure we divide that by 2 roots of 5. You can tell the 4 over 2 reduces to 2 over the root of 5. And now in that situation, we multiply the top and the bottom by the root of 5. You should get 2 roots of 5 over 5. Is everybody okay with that step? Okay, then cosine will be the adjacent, which is 2 over 2 roots of 5. The 2's cancel. 1 over the root of 5, you multiply top and bottom, you get the root of 5 over 5. And then the tangent of theta will be the opposite over the adjacent, which is just dos, or Spanish for 2. Yep, very good. It means done. All right, flip it over, next page. Okay, we're going to roll through these 3, then we're going to look at your assignment. Again, this is a 2-day lesson, so we're going to spend some time tomorrow looking at this. We want to be able to now use sine, cosine, and tangent to be able to find missing sides. So I look at the angle, it's a 42-degree angle. I have the opposite side, I have the hypotenuse, and I have the adjacent. Now, I am given the opposite, I am trying to find the hypotenuse. If I'm given the opposite and trying to find hypotenuse, which of the 3 trig functions do I use? Sine, because I am given the opposite, looking for the hypotenuse. That would be sine. Sine of what? Now we have an angle. In the previous examples, we didn't have the angle. The angle is 42 degrees. Is equal to the opposite, 9, over the hypotenuse, x. Sometimes the variable will be in the denominator, sometimes it will be in the numerator. You need to pay careful attention. I'm going to write it over 1, and I'm going to choose to cross multiply in the situation in order to solve. I get 9 is equal to x sine of 42. Sine of 42 is simply a number. It's a decimal. I'll figure out what that is, and I'll take 9 and divide it by it. Take out your calculator if you have it. I turn on the calculator, and what I'd like you to do is see if this matches with what you have. Take 9 and divide it by sine of 42, and see if you get 13.45. If somebody gets something other than 13.45, please let me know, because I bet a few of you do. Okay, very good. Let's see. If I go into mode, you can see that my calculator is defaulted to radians. You have to manually move it over to degrees. So if I move it over to degrees, because right now I am working in degrees, it says 42 degrees. If you don't do that, if you're sitting in radians, I bet, Zoe, did you get negative 9.819? Because you're working in radians. Question, Alex. Mode. Go down, go over to degrees, press enter, quit. You take that same entry, press enter, 13.45. I get 13.45. Does it make sense that this side is larger than 9? Why? It is the hypotenuse that should be the largest side. Go ahead, please try the next 2 examples on your own. See if you can appropriately choose sine, cosine, or tangent and solve for the missing side. Go ahead. Okay, folks, we're going to go over this. We're going to go straight to your assignment, okay? I draw my angle, 63-degree angle. I can see that this is the hypotenuse, and this is the adjacent. If I am given the hypotenuse and searching for the adjacent, which of the 3 trig functions do I use? Cosine of 63 is equal to the adjacent, which is x over 14. Put over 1, you can see as you cross multiply, x is 14 times the cosine of 63. I think you guys came up with 6.36. Jaden, was that the one you had a question on? You're good to go now. Okay, in this situation, you have this as your angle. You can tell that's my opposite, and then this is my adjacent. The tangent is what works with opposite and adjacent. Tangent of 27 is equal to x divided by 9.4. So if you cross multiply, you get 9.4 times tangent of 27, 4.29. Is that what you got? 4.79, excuse me. Very good. Okay, you now have the skills to be able to solve triangles. So go ahead and turn to your worksheet. This is today. The left side is today, the right side is tomorrow. The left side is today, the right side is tomorrow. I haven't given you that yet? Triangle. It means that you want to find all the missing components to that triangle. So every triangle is going to have 3 angles and 3 sides. In geometry, you should have been told that the capital letters are for angles and the lowercase letters are for sides. We will say in this situation that if it's a right triangle, C will serve as the right angle. So we call this C. You can then choose either angle for A or B. It will work out. I'm going to choose B to be the smaller angle at 32 degrees and A to be the larger angle there. How do we know how to label the sides? The sides are lowercase letters and they go opposite the angles. So angle C, this would be side C because it's opposite that angle. Side A is opposite angle A. And side B is opposite angle B. We can see that we have 6 blanks here. Which ones do I already know? Angle B is 32 degrees, angle C is 90 degrees, and side C is 8. One of these is easy to find. What is the easiest one to find? Why is angle A easy to find? Because they add to 180 degrees. And you know that if C is 90, then the other two have to add to 90 degrees. Therefore, angle A is 52 degrees. 58 degrees. I ate a bowl of stupid for lunch. I'm sorry. I did. All right. So, would you now you get to make choices. Hannah, would you like to choose to work with the 32-degree angle or the 58-degree angle? It doesn't matter. What? Okay. So Hannah would like to work with the 32-degree angle. And we know that C is 8. We're going to give Hannah another choice. Hannah, would you like to find side B or side A? She would like to find side A. Well, if this is the 32-degree angle, this is the adjacent, and this is the hypotenuse. So which trig function would she then use? Cosine. The cosine of 32 degrees is equal to the adjacent, which is A, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 8. As I multiply, I get 8 cosine of 32, which is 6.78. 6.78. Anybody know how I can find side B? You could use a Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to use that as a check for my answers you're going to see. I'm going to choose to use another function. This is the opposite, and that's the hypotenuse. I'm going to choose to use the sine of 32 is equal to B over 8. So if I do 8 times the sine of 32, I get 4.24. I'm going to do 2 checks to verify my answer. Number 1, what's the largest angle? C. What's the largest side? C. What's the smallest angle? B. What's the smallest side? B. And then the middle is going to be A. Smallest sides and smallest angles should match. Largest angles and largest sides should match. Then, if I check using Pythagorean theorem, 4.24 squared plus 6.78 squared, I get that. And as I square it, the answer, notice that I come out with 8. So I have verified my answer. I can leave this problem knowing that there's a good chance I got an A+ on the test. Which, is there anybody here who doesn't like A pluses? Okay, very good. So, for the rest of this hour, you are going to be working only on the left side. Tomorrow, we'll show you how to do the right side. Okay? Question.